My name is Mardi Abbas and I am the NetSuite Planning and Budgeting Account Manager, and today I will be running through NetSuite Planning and Budgeting Starter and hopefully be able to touch on a bit of our premium. So we've got two options here at NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. So let me just run through these slides really quickly, which I've condensed for everybody on the call today. There we go. So first off, this is just a safe harbor statement, which basically mentions that the solution that you'll see today is currently all up and running and operational. You won't see anything that is specific to future updates. If anyone does have any questions around future updates, obviously we can talk about that at a later stage. But in the first instance, I wanted to show you what you'd be able to do should you look at NetSuite Planning and Budgeting today. So within NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, which was formerly known as PVCS, we are the industry-leading FP&A solution which is native to NetSuite, but is also able to integrate with a variety of different systems. In the background, we have worked with Nolan Business Solutions to create an API to integrate with Microsoft GP. It's based on Oracle's Hyperion and Essbase technology, so Hyperion being the leader in FP&A solutions all the way back to the 1980s, and Essbase stands for the Extended Spreadsheet Database, which allows you to slice and dice your data, both within NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, but also across the variety of different integrations, which I'll mention later on. So what NetSuite Planning and Budgeting helps you to do is it automates your revenue and expense forecasting, working capital, workforce planning, financial forecasting, so against your P&Ls, balance sheet, cash flow, and much, much more. And as mentioned, being able to pull data from a variety of different sources, so not just Microsoft GP, but also if you have a different HR, payroll, expensing system, we can allow you to integrate with those as well. It gives you better forecasting accuracy with predictive planning. On top of that, you're able to easily compare what if scenarios to improve strategic decision making. So you're not just working on past data, but being able to future-proof and plan forward ahead of time as well. And as mentioned in terms of the other integrations that we have an integration with Microsoft Office, so not just Excel, but PowerPoint and Word as well, which is run through the market-leading Essbase solution, which we call SmartView. And I'll give you a quick intro into SmartView now. So this is SmartView for Microsoft Office based off of what you can currently do in PowerPoint. I'm just going to hover across this here. So as you can see, these are numbers that are directly extracted from NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. As you can see, there's a URL attached to it, which is showing you that it's running directly out of the pod that I'm going to be working in today. So just to give you a bit of an understanding, we work across all of the globe, but these are just some of the customers that we have across EMEA that myself and my team have brought in. So just a few names that might jump out at you. MessageBird in the top right-hand corner, they are the instant messaging platform that is used across all of Uber. So when you're in contact with your driver or when the driver is in contact with HQ, that's the platform that they're using. Schneider Electric may also jump out at you. We are actually working with them within one of their divisions rather than the whole organization. So we are scalable and grow with organizations. The specific type of, the specific part of Schneider Electric that we work with is their solar energy division. So for their solar energy and wind turbine energy. And again, off of the back of that, with divisional-based integrations, we're now working with Virgin Red, who are one of our newest logos on this this slide. Virgin Red are the membership part of Virgin, so anyone that is assigned as a member to almost any part of Virgin, their flights, their active gyms and so on and so forth, this is where the membership channel goes through. And hopefully some more of these names jump out at you also. So just to give you a bit of a background from one of our customers, KPI right here, this is a direct message from Bertrand David, who is the CFO at KPI, that NetSuite Planning and Budgeting enables us to focus on our retail core business and empower financial analysts and controllers to improve our decision making by acting on the future rather than struggling to analyze on the past, which personally I think is quite a very powerful statement. So that's the end of my PowerPoint presentation. I didn't want it to be too PowerPoint heavy as we've got a very limited time. So I'm going to jump directly into NetSuite and also NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. So as you can see here, this is just a standard instance of NetSuite, which we usually use. But you can see here there's our starter demo and our premium demo. For the sake of keeping as quick to this demonstration as possible, what I wanted to point out is that I've already opened it up, and this is the intro face and the brand new user interface that came in at the beginning of this month. So what you'll notice is a range of different cards, which I'll jump into in a second, but first I wanted to talk about the announcement panels here. So you can see that you can leave a range of different announcements. I'm known as an administrator in this, so I'll be a part of the admin department. But for instance, this will be a note from our CFO, who has said that we need to increase revenue by 25% for this fiscal. And then on top of that, we can also click onto the announcements here, see if there's anything else, and there is. So you can see that we need to reduce our OPEX expenses by 10% as well. On top of that, you'll also notice that we've got this is our activity for the announcements, but we'll also have our recents and favorites. We can click into these quite easily, and you'll see that we've got a couple of them that are starred. So if we wanted to look at an OPEX report, cash flow report, our income statement, and then we can also click into our favorites. So if we've got a specific report that we want to look at, maybe an ad hoc report that we've created via Smart View, then we're able to do so and save this into the panel. So these are just very quick and easy ways for us to get into different reports within the system without having to click into multiple boxes, which again I'll get into within a second. Now, first off, what I wanted to do was jump into our KPI info panel, which is just located here. You can see there's two different tabs. Perfect. So you can see right here, we call these our KPI info alerts, which are basically a set of recorded dashboards that are pulled directly from the data coming from Microsoft GP, but also any other system that you may have integrated within NetSuite. These can also be done via CSV file data dumps, but if you want a true reflection and up-to-date numbers, we can also create an API to connect with all of your additional systems. Now, what I wanted to do here was just click into a couple of these, so you can see that all of them have an arrow attached to them. But for instance, if we flip over the arrow, you can see that we've got our sales volume. So this is just giving you the statistics against our actual versus our forecast. And you can see that we can hover over them and get indicative numbers of what we're forecasting against or what we're actually bringing into the organization. And further from that, we can expand across them. So if we want to, we can look at this from the total year actual sales by sales rep. So we can either hover over each individual sales rep to see where they stand. They've also got color-based and coded, which all of the colors can be changed depending on how you want to review the data. But we can also hover over again and see exactly what value, for instance, Edwin has brought into the organization or Scott Torman has brought into the organization. So yes, that's the main part of our KPI info. That's obviously all of these can be expanded upon, and all of these can review whatever data you want to see. So if you want to see sales trends, balance sheets, and so on, or if you specifically want to look at, variance reports in a much more dashboarded view. This can also be set up quite easily on the implementation phase. Now, if I jump back into our first tab, we've got a range of different cards here, which I'd mentioned earlier. What I want to do is touch on the forecasting element. So within Starter, we've got our sales and COGS, our OPEX and working capital. But within our premium option, we've got a few more cards that we can work against. Now, in the first instance, you can see here that we are working as a retail vendor based on the demo data that's in this this version of NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. We've got a range of different items here, from iPad Pros to MacBooks and different touchscreen monitors and so on. And all of these are able to be forecasted against in different ways. So you can have a manual forecast, you can work against prior year actuals, you can do a different set of forecasts like your 3-month, 6-month, 9-month or 12-month, and all of them you can have an adjustment against in any way, shape or form. So if I was to change this 6-month rolling forecast to a 9-month, let's say, and let's increase this to 8% rather than the initial 5%, you'll see that both of these tabs that I've changed now have turned yellow. That's to state that obviously there are changes in the system, which means that we need to save. And you'll notice here that we've got 289 and 339, and these numbers have quite drastically changed. The reason why they've gone down instead of up is due to the fact that we've extended the rate of the rolling forecast. So it's extended it across not only this fiscal, January to July being our actuals, but August to December are what we're forecasting against, but also the following year as well. So we're forecasting not only 5 months ahead, but a whole year ahead on top of that. Now, this is specifically, what you may notice at the top is how we're able to slice and dice the data is we are working out of the US subsidiary in US currency because most of our data is held in the US base. But you'll notice that the relationship is with a company called Abbott Inc. Now, we can review this data in a range of different ways. We can look at enterprise as a whole if we're looking just at the enterprise companies, or we can change the different organizations that we're reviewing the data from. We can also change, obviously, to mid-market to see, which one of you, how we're doing against different organizations in the mid-market space or SMB space. I'm just going to cancel this because we're very conscious on time. And again, this is just from a customer perspective. We can look at this from a product perspective. So you'll see that we've got our iPad Pro based at the top and against all of our enterprise customers. So here are all of our enterprise customers on the left-hand side and showing you exactly how well we're doing against each one of them. And we can also do it from a product sales revenue point and a top sales, a sales top level adjustment. But all of this can be reported against and dashboarded against. If we click down to the bottom of these tabs here, we can go to our sales reports, in which we can review against all of the data. I expand this one. You can see that we can click into all of our enterprise customers, mid-market and SMB. We can review all of the data and see exactly how we're doing on an individual company basis, on individual months, and how well those organizations are doing for us in terms of buying our software or even products, shall I say. Now, you'll also notice that we've got top sales by customer trends and our top sales revenue type down the bottom here. Now, these obviously can be changed and reviewed in very different ways. We can click into the settings button on the side, and we can quite quickly change this from a line graph to a bar graph if you want to look at it in a much more visual way. And again, each of these are drillable, so we can drill down into our enterprise customers the same way that we did within this top sales by customer dashboard as well. So if we click into this, obviously you'll see a lot of data show up because this is running on a 2-year dashboard. So you can see that we're running from January FY18 all the way to December FY19. Now, I'm going to jump back into our home screen. I want to give you a bit more of a deep dive into our financials. So you can see right within the financials, we've got 3 more buttons: our income statement, which is P&L here in the UK. We've got our balance sheets, and we've got our cash flow. So if we click into our income statements, you can see here you've got all of the different source material, which is coming from, for me, from NetSuite, but for you from your different source systems like Microsoft Great Plains. And off of the back of that, we can review the data, we can forecast against further data, we can even drill back into Microsoft Great Plains from our income statement drill report. Now again, this is coming from NetSuite for me, so if I drill back into this, it would just drill back into NetSuite rather than Microsoft Great Plains. So rather than that, what I'll do is I'll go into our income statement dashboard just to give you the view of how we can review these numbers, but in a bit more of a dashboarded way, as I showed you within my PowerPoint presentation earlier. And again, we can change these so we can review them. If anyone wants to review in a graph or, for instance, a donut or a column chart or a bubble chart, it's just really down to yourself in which way you want to review the data, but this allows you to do so quite quickly. And also for anyone that's creating those management board report packs and needs to get the data quite quickly, if we click into our income statement, you can see here we can choose the file format that we're bringing it out at, so we can either do a PDF, HTML, or Excel-based format, and automatically the numbers are brought up on a quarter-by-quarter basis across a 2-year period and can be sent across. And these can even be streamlined and sent across to your management in a very quick and easy way as well. So rather than having to pull these off every week, month, or however frequently you are putting those management board packs together, if you want to just send a quick one off to your CFO, just so, or a board member, so that they've got the numbers to hand, this can be automated and emailed out directly from NetSuite Planning and Budgeting directly to the specific member of staff that you want this to go out to. So if I jump into cash flow really quickly, here we go. Again, you can see that we are able to produce a cash flow report. Now, all of these numbers that are coming into the P&L and the cash flow are coming directly from the information that's coming out of Microsoft Great Plains, but also how you're forecasting against it in the sales and costs tab that I showed you earlier on. Apologies. Yes, and as you can see, all of these numbers are able to be reviewed at any point and edited across. Now, the financial activities, your cash at the beginning of the period and cash at the end of the period, are probably what most finance professionals on the call are most interested in. And again, all of these have a group consolidated report, so if you want to see it in a much more consolidated format against your different subsidiaries, against all of your sort of company eliminations, and then as a company consolidated format, you're able to do so against any period and any scenario. So we can change this to budget, we can change this to actuals, we can change the year, we can change the month, we can change it to the year total. So we don't have to just review it in any way. And this is, again, how we slice and dice the data via the S-based technology. Now, just because I am also conscious of time, what I'm going to do is jump into our Excel document, and then if we have time at the end, I can jump into our reporting and analytics tab. So I've already pulled an income statement into Excel. Apologies again. I've already pulled an income statement into Excel, which you can see here. This is the income statement that we were looking at earlier. Now, if I just simply push the Analyze button, and again, just for those who may have missed earlier on, we were talking about our integration with Microsoft Office products. So this is SmartView. As you can see at the top, we've got a tab that says SmartView, and once I push the Analyze button, it goes into planning ad hoc mode. So this means that we can create an ad hoc report within seconds or minutes rather than days and weeks. Now, usually I'd be a bit more interactive within this session and get someone to call out some times and dates, but as we are on a strict time flow, what I wanted to do was just make sure that we can get, that I can show you this. So at present, I'm going to go with the month of May because that's the month that we're in. If I click May and then push Keep Only, you can see that we've got the month of May for both FY18 and FY19. Now, what I'm going to do is we can actually pivot this back up to the top of our screen, as I'm sure most finance professionals are used to pivoting. But as we're low on time, what I want to do is I'm just going to type it in and change it itself. So you can see that I've changed from actual to budget. If I push the refresh button, and I'm also going to change this to FY17 because I know that I've got a little bit more data in there. And FY18, push the refresh button again. You should see that we change that back to FY18. Apologies there. So here's our budget and our forecast for May of FY18, which are just slightly under on the budget. Now again, we can do an even bigger deep dive. We can just reduce this down to the income or total sales. But if we, it's going to happen a lot in the next few seconds. I'm just going to close this down, so apologies. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to insert a tab, and let's bring this back as well. So if we do Keep Only on income, so we've only got that tab there. What I want to do is, for instance, I want to do total product. There's no space in between. It's total item, my apologies. There we go. So if I click down on total item, you can see that we've got our services, non-inventory items, and inventory items. I want to just review the inventory items and how the income is going against it. And we can go even further than this. So for instance, if I was to copy and paste this and bring this over, and rather than just the month of May, if I'd say year to date, and then in brackets I put in May, and I extend this across, push the refresh button, you can see that we've got a change of numbers there as well. And we can also, let's say we're doing this as a variance report, so if I include the numbers from this tab, take away this tab, there we go, and I bring that down with just some standard Excel functionality, and then we can do the same here on for take away G4. And then finally, if I take this one step further, I can type in year total. I refresh that. So you can see just that quickly, within the space of 3 or 4 minutes, I'm able to create an ad hoc variance report against our budget and our forecast for the month of May, and are able to do a further deep dive. And obviously we can expand all of this information as much as we want. Again, all of this information is live data coming directly from NetSuite Planning and Budgeting that is pulled from your different source systems. So in which way we are able to create these ad hoc reports very, very quickly. Right, so in the essence of time, I think that is me done, unless anyone has any questions and wants to review any other part of the system.
Hi, Maddie. Thanks very much for that. That's really great. There is one question which I think I'll pick up on that, which is just someone just clarifying that this does integrate with GP. Yeah, this absolutely does.
Indeed,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is where our expertise.
Go on, Campbell. You can explain this as well.
Yeah, I was going to say this is where Nolan Business Solutions expertise have come in. So we're building the integration. We're teaming up with the guys from what used to be called PBCS, so Planning Budgeting Cloud Services. That's now called NetSuite Cloud Services. And it is a great planning budgeting tool that integrates with GP. It's very powerful, as Maddie was showing. That was just skimming a small part of it. I'm sure your demo's usually gone for a lot longer, and there's a lot more to it.
A lot more in depth usually, yes. And obviously there was, as mentioned, within, this is a very quick review of Starter. Within Premium we'll also have workforce planning, CapEx, and much, much more. It just really depends on the use case for your company. And obviously if you are interested in arranging something a bit more personalized, we're happy to do so.